Hello and welcome to iBlog on GBC24, Ghana's premier all news and current affairs channel. Last week, the President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency President John Mahama, appointed Mrs. Charlotte Osei as the new EC boss. And I believe run up to this, there's been lots of discussions, debates, and expectations as well. And many people will say, let me use the street language. He swerved everybody by his appointment. He appointed Madame Osei as the EC chair. And today on iBlogger, we'll be having a discussion about the electoral process actually, because we have a by-election in the offing, we have the district assembly elections as well, and the big one coming next year, and the role of the EC chair as well. And of course, I'll be joining somebody very interesting is joining me in the studio today. He has a title, General, and if you, in the army, when somebody goes by the name General, you know he's big. But interestingly, his title seems to be quite ironic because he's a general and then the other one is a mosquito. And you wonder why General. I guess you know who I'm talking about. I have Mr. Hon Asiedu Nketia, who is the General Secretary of NDC, with me in the studio, and I'll be having this conversation with him. My name is Makafu Zimrani. Be my guest on iBlog. I take this quick break. I'll be right back. It's iBlog on GBC24 with me, Makafu Zimrani, and today we are having a conversation about the electoral process and the role of the EC chairperson. And Mr. Hon Asiedu Nketia, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
General Mosquito, I mean, your size never looks it. Why the mosquito in the first place?
We discussed that one.
you know, in the run up to the appointment of the new EC chair, there's been lots of debates, etc. Various names were bandied around, etc. But eventually, Madame Osei was appointed. What's your assessment of her?
I think, first of all, it's a very good choice. I want to congratulate the President for sticking to the Constitution, because everybody knows that in the run-up to this appointment, people were demanding that the President should do other things that are not contained in the Constitution, including involving Parliament, involving civil society, bringing in political parties and so on, and a whole lot of strange demands. We came out at that time to advise the President that he should stick to the Constitution. Luckily, we have established practice and we have the law. So the established practice has been according to the law. So you shouldn't venture into any new grounds that could create problems, more so when some big shots in society were threatening that if the President made a mistake in the appointment, where the matter could land in court. So I'm very happy that the President actually stuck to the Constitution, and the person who has been appointed to, in my opinion, meets qualification.
But in talking about sticking to the Constitution, I believe that you've heard about some of the issues that have arisen after the appointment. Sure. For instance, you know, Article 70, subsection B2 says that the President shall acting on the advice of the Council of State, appoint the chairperson, the deputy chairperson, and other members of the Electoral Commission. Yes. People say that that wasn't duly followed. So if you talk about sticking to the Constitution,
I don't know which people you are talking about, because it is only the Council of State that can come to say that they have not, the President hasn't acted upon their advice. So far, I haven't heard any statement in that direction from either the whole Council or any member of the Council of State. So those who are talking, maybe they are talking from their own, singing from their own hymn books. It has nothing to do with the Council of State. So indeed, if it is the case that the President ignored the advice or did not seek the advice, the Council can come up and then make a point. At that point, we can all join in to insist that the President
So at this point in time, do we have to disregard what people are saying? Or
sure.
We should pay some attention
because
to it?
it is not based on any law. It's based on speculations and so on. And we don't run a system by speculations.
And others also spoke about the framing or the wording, because in Article 70, the subsection A talks about other appointments, and that one was acting in consultation with, and subsection B, 2, talks about on the advice. And a bad whisper to me, I got to know that you were part of the framers of this constitution.
Yes.
What went into the thinking of those two words?
I think that in acting on the advice carries more weight and more, if you like, more responsibility on the Council of State. But if it is about consultation, it is the person who is to be consulted, carries a lesser responsibility. So I want to believe that in this appointment process, the Council of State did advise the President, and the President acted in accordance with that advice.
And you mentioned that you are very satisfied with the appointment. What's the position of your party on this?
Well, our party is also very satisfied, because I haven't heard anybody from our party complaining about this appointment. So I would, even though there has not been any meetings to discuss this one.
Is it not because of probably the allegations making the rounds? It's alleged that Madam Osei has affiliations with NDC. That's why you're so happy.
I'm not saying we are happy. We are satisfied that our leader, there was a responsibility on our leader. And don't forget that President Mahama is the leader of NDC. So if there is a responsibility on your leader, and there was so much controversy generated, whether intentionally or not, and your leader discharges that responsibility without any problem, you should be happy. That's the only reason why we are happy.
Not because she has affiliations to the party, and you see
no, I don't know
about going into next year's general elections.
I don't know about her party affiliation, and I keep the party register. And if I say somebody is not a member of the party, so be it. But it must be said that everybody casts a vote, including the chairman of the Electoral Commission. Even the Chief Justice has a vote. The Speaker of Parliament has a vote. So she may have reasons for voting one way or the other. And unless somebody can come up to tell me that he saw Madam Charlotte voting for NDC or voting for MPP, I do not think that we should be running the system with speculations.
But do you think that her appointments will inure to the benefit of the NDC?
In what way? The only way it will inure to the benefit of NDC is that we will believe, if you like, the President has helped us to live to our, core beliefs that women should be given opportunity to also participate in governance. That's all. Apart from that, I have been saying that the stage where we have reached, even if I, the General Secretary of NDC, were made the chairman of the Electoral Commission, and the people of Ghana vote for MPP, I'll have no option but to declare MPP the winner, because elections are won at polling stations, and these results are declared all over the country at those polling stations. So all that the commission does at the head office is to put figures together, which figures can be put together by anybody. And the system we have in place allows civil society, the media, political parties, and any interested party to have access to the results right from polling station to region to national and so on. So if it comes to just the matter of putting figures together, if you put figures together and the sum is wrong, I can put the figures together in my office and come and challenge you that this is wrong. So I do not see any special role of the chairman of the commission, influencing the outcomes of elections one way or the other. Indeed, we are operating with a commission and not a sole commissioner. In the past, we have had sole commissioners, but from the Fourth Republic, we decided to have a commission, a 7-member commission, who have equal voting rights. The chairman of the commission does not even have a casting vote. So the additional responsibilities that the chairman and his or her two deputies carry is the additional responsibility of doing the administrative work of the commission. That's all. But when it comes to decision making about elections and so on, that's why we put there an odd number. So majority certainly carries.
But in the run-up to her appointment, the stakes were so high. The debates were raging on, names were thrown about all over the place. Some were saying, okay, if we put this person there, the person would be fair. If we put this person there to inure to the benefit of NDC, this person may inure to the MPP. And why, if there, from what you just said, if the EC chairman doesn't really influence results, why were the stakes so high?
I don't know, but I'm happy that the president didn't appoint any of the names that were being bandied around. So I actually don't know why it should be an issue at all. And that was why I did not engage in the assessment of the various names that were put up, because I thought it was totally unnecessary.
Is it not possibly because you probably had foreknowledge of what was
going
to
happen? No. So I thought it was totally unnecessary, because my view is that knowing what I know about our electoral system and the laws and so on, I know, and from our history, I know that the fact that certain people are appointed or commission members are appointed by a particular president does not guarantee electoral victory to the party the president belongs to. And it has been demonstrated in our history. The first 7 members were all appointed by President Rawlings. And they were the same 7 members. None had gone on retirement at the time when they were declaring NDC losers for of the elections in 2000. Now, when President Kufuor came, 3 commissioners went on retirement, and President Kufuor appointed a 4th one to head the National Identification Authority. I'm talking about Professor Dombo. So that created 4 vacancies. And so all those 4 vacancies were filled by President Kufuor. At that time, we also complained that, well, if MPP complained that the first commission made up of 7 members could influence elections, and because of that, they even had to boycott the 2000 elections, claiming that the commission would not be fair because they were all appointed by President Rawlings and so on. And it was because of that that the IPAC was instituted, so that the commission can involve political parties in their decision making. Now, they are going to appoint 4, and those 4 will tilt the balance. So you will see that President Kufuor's appointees would carry majority on the commission. Maybe if you remember, we also made noise around that.
So
time.
Is it not a matter
But
of
then when it came to the 2008 election, the same 7 members, majority of whom were appointed by President Kufuor, declared election in favor of NDC and against MPP. So with all this background, people should now be, comfortable that the Electoral Commission has a track record, they have a history of doing things, and so the appointment of a particular member of the commission by a particular government doesn't guarantee anything to that political party. And so that is why I felt that this argument or hula baloo about let's involve parliament, let's involve this, it is totally misplaced.
But doesn't that speak probably that there is a need for change generally to the way we do our politicking in this country? Because when you are in power, everything is right. When you're in opposition, no. Even when you lose elections, you do not accept. When you lose elections, you may make allusions, talk about different machinations happening. Shouldn't we now begin to look at our politics more objectively and look at things that will inure to the benefit of the country as a whole, instead of being too partisan?
In this particular process of appointment, I thought we have grown beyond this point, because when the first controversy arose about President Jerry Rawlings' appointees, and then it came to President Kufuor, and he also appointed, I think the matter ended there. So when Professor Mills had to replace 2 of the commissioners. There was no noise about anybody at all. Professor Mills replaced 2 who went on retirement. It was as if nothing had happened in the country. And even when we were in Supreme Court, a 3rd person went on retirement. President Mahama replaced that person, and there was no noise. So I do not understand why. Maybe people think that being the chairman of the Electoral Commission, they are equating it to a sole chairmanship. You understand? Because there's a tendency for people to be calling Afarijan electoral commissioner, electoral commissioner. So maybe that has fed into this perception that he's the sole person who takes those decisions. But having worked with them and worked with our electoral system for close to 35 years now, I can tell you that even when you go to the commission, those who actually do the work, when it comes to election, you have a director of elections. He does the field work and reports to deputy commissioner. One of the deputy commissioners will be in charge of administration, the other will be in charge of operations. So the one in charge of operations works with the director of elections, and they conduct these elections. So all the others, they are just decision taking about what laws should be made, what procedures should be made. Unfortunately, all political parties are also involved in this matter. And then when the other responsibility comes when he has to sign, the chairman or chairperson has to sign the final results. And I'm saying that as it appeared in court, Afarijan never saw constituency polling station results. They were all collated, and the build-up came to who the winner is, and he has to sign. So I do not think that there is a need for any hula-baloo about this. And if you have a 6-member commission, a 7-member commission, one is replaced. How can one, outvote the other 6? More so, she is coming as the least experienced person in the system. She's now going to begin. So I do not understand.
But if you look at the electoral process with the involvement of IPAC, it looks as if it's so airtight that it doesn't even leave room for manipulation, etc. But all the parties, I remember your party was in opposition during the 2004 elections. It made allusions to some rigging. MPP also did the same thing, even 2008, 2012. Is it a deliberate? You are the politician here. Is it deliberate? Those things, are they deliberate?
I think that, you see, democracy is not a destination, it's a process. So as we were beginning in 92, the mutual suspicion was very, very high. And I'm surprised that at this stage, some people still do not want to, even when the level of transparency in our elections is that high, people still hold on to this mutual suspicion thing, and then it feeds into their supporters' perceptions and so on and so forth. I think that we should grow over this. There are instances where people will rush and come and tell you from your own political party, I have heard that these people are colluding with electoral commission, they are in this house and do this. If you are not careful about it and do your own cross-checking, you go and embarrass yourself. You understand? So it is the responsibility of leadership of political parties not to yield to pressures from people who are placed in a position that they don't have access to information, to give pressure. So you say, because I'm a leader and this is what they are demanding, even though I know the truth, let me go and yield to it. I think we should grow beyond that. So it is my view that as we work in every passing election to increase transparency, we will come to a time when time of elections will be like ordinary times. There will be no issue at all. But this one also ties into the winner takes all
Thank you very much.
thinking in our society, you know. And when we talk about addressing winner take all, some people approach it wrongly. You know, some people have been made to believe that when you are talking about winner takes all, or it's about, you know, if you want to run the government and you are a party, NDC has won, let NDC appoint a few people from all the political parties and let us run the system. Therefore, then we have defeated winner takes all. I don't think that is it at all. They are going about it the wrong way.
And what should be the right way?
I believe that when you are talking about, you are complaining about winner takes all, what people are complaining about is the distribution of opportunities in the democratic system. You understand? There shouldn't be any reason why, if somebody is looking for a job, a businessman is looking for a contract, or some litigant is contesting a case in court, the outcomes should have anything to do with the political affiliation of the various parties in court. We must get to a time where, if, irrespective of my party, whether we are in government or we are in opposition, if I am applying for a job, I am tendering for a project or anything, it must be on merit. If that stage is reached, then people will not invest their hopes so much in the outcomes of elections. But you have a system where, in the past, and I don't know whether even some aspects of it is still persistent, where even when a new government comes, they are prepared to cancel contracts signed by the previous government with third parties outside, you know. So if these things exist, then that is what creates the perception of winner takes all. So if you don't belong to the ruling party, then you are finished for the next 4 years. And so election terms become terms of do or die.
But General, we have seen,
to remove that.
We've even heard people talk about the fact that opposition is hard, and you also see that people get into government and their life seemingly becomes better. Their conditions of life has improved, that of their families, etc. So why wouldn't it be do or die affair for everybody? Because we perceive it that it's lucrative.
We are talking virtually about the same thing. If it is the case that people, you have heard about demonstrations all over the country by MPP food soldiers when MPP was in power. This person is NDC, he's in this position, he must go and create a vacancy for this man. And then, to some extent, to when we also came to power, the same demonstrations are happening. It is because of this winner takes all thing. And it takes the commitment of those of us at the top of the, political parties to work to make sure that we rid the system of this type of winner takes all thing. Until that one is done away with, people will continue to invest their hopes, their everything in the outcomes of elections. And if they invest so much in the outcomes of elections, then election times will certainly look like hell is breaking, a battlefield, and so on. It doesn't happen in the mature democracies. In the mature democracies,
I know that some countries, even where the election is run by the Minister of Interior, nobody complains.
I observed elections in Denmark, and there was no policeman at any police station, and everybody came and voted and went away.
Because over here?
If we are able to grow a system to a point where everybody believes in the transparency of that system, there will be no need for anybody to go and be observing elections and be sitting there and organizing, people.
But coming back to Madam Charlotte Osei, some say that, we observe that the position of the chair of EC is not an easy one. There's so much pressure on you. When a party loses, they blame it on you.
Yeah.
I mean, the recent court case was a typical example where the character of Dr. Farijan had been maligned, he's been slandered, insulted, all over the place. Do you think that she's got what it takes to withstand all these pressures, you know, and to hold us together?
My answer is I don't know. Because at this stage, we are concerned about whether she is qualified, and the process of putting her there is right.
As for the qualification, we think she meets it.
Yes, and the process of getting her the appointment is also okay. So we cannot mark an examination that has not been written. So let her come and perform. So if she is able to stand the pressures, we will know it, and then we can be commenting. Some are saying, oh, I have heard some overzealous commentators saying that, oh, she will be better, far better than the Farijan. Others are saying that, oh, she can't do it, she is worse. These are all speculations. And I use myself as an example. The very time, the day I was elected as a general secretary, if they had asked people to assess me, what would be the basis of assessing me? So performance will be the basis of assessment. So far, so good. We've gotten her appointed through the right processes. Allow her to work. After she has done some work, we will now be able to have something to be the basis of assessing her. Some are saying she's too beautiful. Some are but
there's a problem that says so we should be able to probably.
But what has she done? She hasn't run anything yet. She hasn't run any election yet. So you look at her face, look at her face and conclude that because she's beautiful, she cannot be strong. It doesn't work that way. So I think that we have to.
By your personal capacity, because she was the boss for the NCCE.
Sure.
Judging from her performance from the NCCE, what do you think about her character and her disposition towards being the EC chair?
Well, you see, first of all, NCCE has been, if you like, some lame duck organization in our democracy. And we have all failed, the two governments, in ensuring that NCCE does the work that it was established to do. You know, the function of NCCE is to enlighten people about their civic rights and so on and so forth. So when people are in opposition, they want everybody to be conscious of their rights and so on. I'm talking from experience. Now, but when you are in government, you think that when people are too knowledgeable about their rights, it creates a problem for you. You understand? So, but unfortunately, it doesn't take opposition to finance the NCCE. It takes a government in power. So this morning, somebody was asking, we didn't see much about her in terms of voter education and so on. I said, look, you cannot assess somebody like that on this basis. Because NCCE is a different organization, Electoral Commission is a different organization. And in the Constitution, you realize that there seems to be some conflict of overlapping of functions between Electoral Commission and the NCCE as far as voter education and other things are concerned. Parliament has sought to settle it by allocating the amount of resources needed for voter education to Electoral Commission. So if that resource is allocated to Electoral Commission and you expect NCCE to be able to deliver on the mandate where they don't have the resources, then, I mean, you'll be chasing the wind, sort of. So I think that that cannot be the basis of an assessment. If you happen to look at the budget of NCCE, you weep. I know when I was in Parliament, I was involved in the approval process of the budgets of some of these constitutional bodies. I remember there was an occasion where we discovered that the allocation for a whole district of NCCE was 500 Ghana cedis.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
500 Ghana cedis for the whole year.
Wow.
You understand? So if you put that money there, and you think that the person should use that money to perform magic. It doesn't happen that way. You understand?
Of course.
And so they are not an organization that can also receive donations and so on. They will have to look at the propriety of those donations, because they have the responsibility of educating people about the need not to accept gifts, because they may turn out to be bribes, and so on and so on. So NCC is a different organization. And whilst we are on it, let me also veer a little into the constitutional issue that has been raised, that the head of one constitutional body has been appointed by the president to head another body. And so they think that it is the president is trying to remove the head of NCC through the back door. It's a very disingenuous argument, because when you look at the constitution, you have about 4 constitutional bodies that are analogous. You have NCC, the president appoints the head and the deputy heads. You have Chirag, Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice. The president appoints the head and the deputies, the 2 deputies. Then you have Electoral Commission. The president appoints the head and the 2 deputies. Then when you go to the Superior Courts, the president also does those appointments. So, and if you look at the constitution, the mode of appointment of all these heads of all these constitutional bodies are tied into the appointment of appeal court judges and high court judges. So their conditions, their tenure, their everything is the same. You understand? So I want to believe that moving from NCC to even Electoral Commission, her condition will not be the same. It's just like a shift from one responsibility to the other. And it's been our practice. The president could have appointed an appeal court judge to be Electoral Commissioner or chairman of the Electoral Commission, because in those days that we had sole commissioners, you have Justice Kingsley Nyina. He was a Superior Court judge. You have Justice Aban. He was drafted from the judiciary, and so on. And then you have Justice Emil Short, was made head of Chirag. So he's also a judge, and so on. So I do not see anything wrong with the president appointing somebody from this organization to head the other organization. Now, we have been told, and in fact, during President Kufuor's term, he actually created the National Identification Authority and appointed a sitting commissioner on the Electoral Commission to go and head that thing. So it created a vacancy, and it was filled in. You know, the reason why you cannot fault those appointments first is that in all these constitutional bodies, even those whose tenure are protected, i.e. that the president can appoint but cannot remove unless on stated grounds, there is another means of leaving the office. It always includes the decision by the occupant to resign. You understand?
Of course.
Good. So, and the president couldn't have appointed this woman unless he has consulted her. So, if I consult, you are occupying a position, and I consult you that I'm offering this other position, you could have said, no, I'm not interested.
Of course.
You remain there. The president cannot remove you. And if you say, yes, I want it, and you didn't even, and the president didn't insist that resign first before I give it to you, and you also didn't resign, but you accepted this position, consummated it before resigning, it tells you that the president has absolutely no power to remove you.
Of course.
You understand? But the suggestions that some of our people were making, that she should have resigned first, it's a very dangerous suggestion. if we establish a practice that if such a job is on offer and the person would have to resign from one constitutional body even before
the
appointment, that is what a very disingenuous president can use to weaken the state institutions. For instance, you could, in terms of hierarchy in the system, the Speaker of Parliament is higher than the Chief Justice.
Yeah, of course.
So, if the president intends to make somebody Speaker of Parliament, and he approaches the Chief Justice and say, "Oh, Madam, are you interested in becoming Speaker of Parliament?" Say yes. Then, "Oh, resign first. Then your appointment will come." Once she resigns and she hears that the president has appointed another person,
that's quite crafty.
You understand? Another person. Then that's a way of removing her. She cannot go back to occupy that same position unless the president has reappointed
so
her.
In your opinion,
so if you allow, in my opinion, I think that the right procedure has been followed.
Okay.
Let the person take the accept the second appointment. Let everybody know that this appointment has been given, and then you take process before you proceed to do your work. You take processes to resign the previous position. And the provision in the Constitution is that in all these positions, all you need to do to resign is write a letter to the president that I have resigned. And that's the end of the matter. So I do not think that those who are trying to generate some constitutional issue out of this, I don't think that they are.
Okay.
They are right.
Well, General, you know that one of the main bones of contention when it comes to the electoral process, especially from the opposition, is that about that of the voter registration. They think that what we have currently must be totally scrapped off and let's do a new register. What do you think about that? Do you agree with that?
No, I don't agree with that at all. And I've made my views
won't that be
very clear.
Won't that probably be a fair playing ground for all of us, everybody?
No.
Why?
You see, we have established practices, and I'm surprised that when NPP is in power or in opposition, and some established practice, they don't think that there's an established practice which inures to their benefit in a way, or they want to proceed against it. I don't think that is the way to do it. We have a system in this country that the voters register is changed, totally replaced every 10 years. That is what we have worked with from 92 to date. And this register we are operating with was made only last, 4 years or so. We are now getting to, it's not quite 4 years yet. So what is the basis? And then when you look at the previous...
But if it's a bone of contention...
Listen, it is a bone of contention being intentionally generated. That contention exists in the heads of some people. It is not a general bone of contention at all. Some people are trying to use the media, use civil society, use faith-based organizations and so on. The truth of the matter is that truth stands. We must do this assessment on the basis of facts and truth. You understand? In the past, where we were compiling the voters register through the manual method, even in those days, a register was lasting for 10 years. So every year we open the register for limited registration and we add. So in getting to 2008 election, we, from our side, in NDC, were in opposition. We detected that in some 13 constituencies in Ashanti region, in the stronghold of MPP, the voter registration figures there don't just add up, because within a period of 4 years, in some constituencies, the voter population has more than doubled, and it doesn't happen anywhere. So we questioned it. Electoral Commission established a committee and so on. The international observers who came to observe our elections got in. We all got to the conclusion, supported by Electoral Commission's own statements, that the register was bloated by at least 1 million votes in those days. But we were prevailed upon because in opposition we were making the noise that sitting government can use the bloated register as a platform to rig elections. So we were prevailed upon, to go in there and increase our vigilance. We were convinced that a bloated register by itself does not rig elections. It only facilitates elections. But if you are vigilant, it does not happen. So we went in and instituted all our measures of vigilance, and they paid off. We were able to win that election in spite of the bloated register. Immediately we won the elections. Then MPP started making noise that the register must be changed and we should adopt a biometric system of doing a register so that nobody can beat it. At first, we were reluctant to go in, but later on we were called by electoral commission. The electoral commission bought into it, and then we were convinced that it is the way to prepare a virtually foolproof register. So we all bought into it. After that, we said, well, even on the voting platform at the polling station, the type of laws that operate there, if we are able to maintain the right environment at the polling station, we didn't need verification equipment. They still insisted that we needed verification equipment. We went in and bought verification equipment. As we sit here now, the register, I can tell you that this register is the most accurate register ever prepared in this country.
Why is it so?
The most, because nobody. Yes, the process. Because without your thumbprint, your name cannot be there. And so far, in spite of all this noise, the court cases and so on, nobody has been able to prove, either in the Supreme Court or anywhere, that the register has been bloated. And the process of voting, which requires verification, when the matter went to court, there was no single evidence that anybody voted more than once. Because we put it to them that, look, if anybody managed to vote more than once, let them come up, put people in the dock, or bring statements that they voted more than once, or if anybody has any evidence, let them bring it. We went ahead to demand that the printouts of the verification equipment should be tendered in court, so that you look at the printout, because anytime you thumbprint, the machine will take. So if you compare the printouts with the results, you will be able to determine whether somebody voted without verification. And it is still my view that we wasted too much time in court. If we had adopted a fact-finding approach in resolving the matter, we could have just printed out all the, the inputs in the verification equipment in all the 26,000 polling stations, compared them with the polling station results. And if there was a case where somebody voted who was not qualified to vote, we could have detected this. And then we spent 8 months. And I was very surprised that MPP, which insisted on the procurement of verification machines, when we were trying, I was making a motion for the court to allow me to tender in the printouts from all the polling stations. They objected to it. It tells you that they were not there to look for truth. They were not there for fact-finding. Because the machines were procured so that they can help us, if you like, testify when there is controversy. Now there is controversy. Let us bring the printouts of the machine to check whether the allegations you are making are correct. So we cross-check every polling station's printout from the biometric machine and compare it with the entries on the pink sheet. As for the entries on the pink sheet, you can have human errors and other things. So let us check this one. You say no. You understand? So the noise.
So you think that we should maintain
the register is accurate, and all the reasons they have put forward for us to change the register, none of them is tenable. Absolutely none of them is tenable. I've heard about the case that some people used the health insurance ID card
register
to as evidence of their citizenship. so they could register. At that point, the law was that you could use that card, you could use other documents. So it was one of the options. So if the law provided that one, and then somebody came, you couldn't use all the 5 options. You could only apply one. So the fact that I use health insurance card doesn't mean that I don't have a passport or I don't have a driving license or anything. So going into the register to even be able to determine which people use health insurance and which people use passport and other things is a big challenge. But even if you are able to determine it, unless you call them one by one to go and bring any of the other ones, if they are not able to do it, it is only on that basis that you can remove their names. But incidentally,
General,
let me just conclude this one. Incidentally, you know that the first proof of your citizenship or your right to register is the possession of a previous voter's ID card. So everybody whose name is on the register now, whether they did it through biometric or through any other, through health insurance or through passport or driving license or testimony or so on, they all possess the 2012 voter ID cards. So if you want to open the register now, and you say, I'm doing it because some people use health insurance, so now we won't accept health insurance, but other people should come. People could have procured it with their health insurance card. So when they are coming to vote and they tender in their old voter's ID card, how are you going to determine that this card was procured through the use of health insurance or through passport and so on? So it will be like chasing the wind. And again, another area where we have a problem, a challenge, is that we were all aware that what the biometric system cannot do is to determine the age of the person using it. You understand? If you do it once, you can't do it again. But if you are supposed to do it when you are 18 years, and then you go at 16 and do it, it cannot determine. So if the register is having names that should not be there, then it can only be on account of having minors there. But the good thing is that once their minors and their names are there, from 2000 to this time, anybody whose name was there when he was 16 years, by now he's already qualified. So why do you go to open it so that new minors who are now 16 years will go and have their names on the register, which is bloated?
But even talking about the use of minors, during the registration process, you still have your party agents there when people are registering.
Yes.
So people should have raised alarm if they saw minors registering then. And that should have probably been averted at
the good thing, the bad thing about this thing is that if you are able to remove the possibility of human error and discretion, limit discretion, then you are moving towards a perfect system. But so long as there is discretion and there is interest, you will be hearing accusations in Ashanti region that minors are registering there, and then there will be counter accusations that in Volta region or Northern region, minors are registering. So after the compilation of the register, we all met with the Electoral Commission, the political parties met with the Electoral Commission, and we all admitted that some of the faces we saw on the register looked very much like minors. But the commission itself doesn't have the means to remove
Can you just look at somebody's image and say that?
That's the point. So we in NDC at that time even suggested that the national identification has covered some regions so far. So can't we have a system that will run the national identification data against the voter registration data, so that where you have somebody who, when he was registered as a citizen, quoted a certain age, and then when he was registering as a voter, quoted a different age, then you can identify the person as having two.
But that even brings the point of the
ages.
national ID. People say that if we have a proper national ID, you don't even need to have a voter.
Precisely, that has been
everybody's data is there.
Precisely.
Your biometric data, your age, everything. So it's easy. Just tender it in. The person checks on the computer, you know you are qualified. So why are we not pushing to work towards that?
That is the problem in the country. If we are able to move.
But your government is in power, so
No,
you shouldn't be saying that
no, please. It is not about, you see, we tend to look at problems as people who are presiding now. The history of this national ID started during President Kufuor's time. When the need for us to create this national database arose, President Kufuor brought the MPP government at that time, brought proposals to Parliament. I was in Parliament for the creation of a national ID authority for the purpose of creating this database. We raised an issue that, according to our constitution, no other body can compile a register that could be used for voting in the country apart from the Electoral Commission. So until we change that aspect of the constitution, we have a way out. Can't we expand the capacity of the commission so that we create this department and then let it operate under the commission? We argued it. NDC took a strong position on that so that by the time we get the data, we can then extract the voters register from it without creating any problem. They objected and went ahead and created the the national identification and even pulled a commissioner to go and head it. It happened that as they were doing their enumeration, their enumeration did not follow the enumeration areas of the voters electoral commission. So even if we finish with the registration as it is now, it will be difficult now to want to reconcile the two information. But it could have been neater, so that let us do it with synchronous enumeration areas. Then after we've done it, it can now be the basis for a national database, and then everybody will be extracting from it. Political parties can extract from it. We hear about National Health Insurance doing their own biometric data. You hear this organization doing their own biometric. What? So it's just so waste of time. If at the time, if at the time these things were being conceived, if we had all listened to each other to build a system without any political motives, we will not be where we are now. That
costs the nation a lot of money as
well.
So
now, we are stuck in the middle. Whether, I'm sure you have heard that even some of the cards that have already been printed, the national ID cards, they don't even know how to distribute them. Because it was different, their system was different from what Electoral Commission used, where they had instant printing of card. So at the point of registration, when you finish, you take your card. National identification have done, they take the data, go and print the card and bring it back. Now they have printed and brought plenty of them back. They've been making announcement for people to go there to pick. It's a problem. And they don't even know which cards to carry to which town for distribution and so on. So there is a whole lot of mess there that needs to be cleaned up. But I think that the eventual thing is for us to have a credible national database of our citizens. And then with that data, if you go there and you are being registered, you will not go and misquote your date. Because if you go and you quote that you are 18 years, forever, of course. You are above 18 years, very soon you cannot qualify for maybe some treatment as a minor in the system. If you run foul of the law, you will be jailed. If you want scholarship for schools, to attend schools or something, all those come in. And you carry that single date forever till you die. So you will not have a system where, I remember
on a lighter note, even I'll say it even takes away the issue of football agent.
That's the point, because we have vetted some appointees to the judiciary where I remember looking at the CV, the only conclusion one could draw was that the person entered school the same day he was born. You see? And then you now have a parliamentary candidate with 3 different dates. So all these things would have been
the Talensi by-election. It's in the offing, and looks like that's going to be the first test for Madam Charlotte Osei. What are we expecting for the Talensi by-election?
Well, I don't think that it should necessarily be a test for Madam Charlotte Osei at all, because the processes started even before her appointment. And I think it will be prudent for her to allow the process to continue. So I do not think that whatever the outcome is should be the basis of judging Madam Charlotte Osei at all, because she has now come, she doesn't know anything there. She will now need some time to run herself in before she can.
So we should have patience for her.
So yeah, so I think that by now the other commissioners should be able to do that. The good thing is that the law provides that a vacancy in the commission does not prevent it from doing it well. It does not derogate from its powers. Okay. You know, so those who are alleging that appointing one of the existing commissioners to be the chairman and so on, and they were pointing to people alleging that this is NDC. This, I remember I heard about the deputy in charge of operations also, Amadou Sule. It was being alleged that he was NDC. Well, and I'm saying that if indeed it is true that he's NDC, and if indeed it is true that a person who is NDC or MPP can influence elections in a particular way, and if it is indeed true that NDC in government wants to use this type of appointments to influence elections, the easiest thing the president could have done would have been to allow the commission to operate as it is, because the deputy is now acting, so that he runs the general elections. And he would the president wouldn't have breached any law. So the president went out of his way to discharge the responsibilities entrusted upon him by the Constitution.
The law just says that once you're qualified to be a parliamentarian, you qualify. Sure. It doesn't even talk about party affiliation.
Yes, so that is the point. So I don't understand. I don't understand. So let's congratulate the president. Let's congratulate Madame Charlotte Osei. Let's congratulate the Council of State for the role they must have played, and let's congratulate ourselves. Let's give her the support so that we can build strong institutions and move forward. And one person out of 7 cannot change anything. I don't expect any drastic changes in the ways of electoral commission, doing things at the commission and so on. And it is good that we should maintain our traditions and be proud of our traditions. I heard somebody saying that she should go to Nigeria to learn. What is the basis? Nigerians have been trying to learn from us, and they have succeeded.
For many countries in Africa.
And they succeeded in making only one transition. Because this knowledge is made in Ghana, we still want to believe in something else, because we want to wear dresses made out of the country. Now we want ideas out of the country too, and not, we don't want our indigenous ideas.
Well, General, we have less than 5 minutes. So what are your personal expectations of Madam Osei?
I expect her to perform so that it vindicates the wisdom in getting the appointment by the president, because as a leader you also have a responsibility. The quality of your appointees also reflects on the quality of your judgment, and presidency or leadership is about judgment. So I want to believe that the president has made the right judgments, and I therefore expect Madam Charlotte Osei to perform, because I don't have any reason at all in my mind to doubt her competence. So let her perform, and let us judge her by her performance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Johnson Asiedu Nketia, known as General Mosquito. Well, viewers, that's been Mr. Johnson Asiedu Nketia, the General Mosquito himself. Well, I believe that we'll have that discussion another day. Well, we've been having a conversation about the electoral process and also the appointment of the new EC chair, and I believe you heard General Mosquito's views about her, and he says that he is so far very satisfied with the president's appointment because he thought that he stuck to the constitution. My name is Makafu Zimran. If you like, I'm on your screens again. It's bye for now. Have a wonderful day.